ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਗਲੀਆਂ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਚੋਣਾਂ ਦਾ ਐਲਾਨ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ 20 ਸਤੰਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਪੈਣਗੀਆਂ। ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ 338 ਮੈਂਬਰੀ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਸਦਨ ਵਿੱਚ 175 ਮੈਂਬਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਘੱਟ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਚਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਸਨ। ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਕੋਲ 119, ਬਲੌਕ ਕਿਊਬਿਕ ਕੋਲ 32, ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਕੋਲ 24, ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਕੋਲ 2 ਅਤੇ 4 ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਸਨ।
My friends, it's been a big couple of years. The last 17 months have been like nothing we've ever experienced. And we're all wondering what the next 17 months, not to mention the next 17 years, will hold. A global pandemic, a global recession, a global climate crisis that's causing wildfires and flooding around the world. You're probably wondering what this means for you, for your job, for your kids, for your retirement, for your community, and for your country. Well, that's fair. But just look at what Canadians did in this time of crisis, in this time of uncertainty. When this pandemic struck, Canadians dug deep. You put on your mask to keep your neighbors safe. You followed public health rules, stayed home, and supported our frontline workers. And you rolled up your sleeves to lead the world on vaccinations. No one expected this crisis, but time and time again, community after community, you showed what mettle we're made of as Canadians. So don't stop now. If you haven't already, go get vaccinated. And if you have, talk to the person you know who still needs to get their shot. They won't necessarily be easy conversations, but they're important to have. We owe it to each other. Because with our actions, we show what it means to be Canadian. And now, more than ever, that matters. Look, COVID-19 wasn't something we expected as a government either.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਚੋਣਾਂ ਦਾ ਐਲਾਨ ਹੁੰਦਿਆਂ ਹੀ ਚੋਣ ਮੈਦਾਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਤਰਨ ਲਈ ਸਿਆਸੀ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਪੱਬਾਂ ਭਾਰ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਹਨ। ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਚੋਣ ਦੇ ਐਲਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਸਿਆਸੀ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਤਿਆਰੀ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਗਈ ਸੀ। ਵਿਰੋਧੀ ਧਿਰ ਦੇ ਆਗੂ ਐਰੀਨੋ ਟੂਲ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਚੋਣ ਮੁਹਿੰਮ ਵਿੱਢ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਆਗਾਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ।
COVID passports or a vaccine passport or some sort of passport is something that the provinces are rolling out in a variety of different ways. They've used proof of vaccination, they've used QR codes, and now some provinces are going to a vaccine passport. There's also vaccine passport being considered for people that want to travel abroad because countries will require proof of vaccination. I always say vaccines are a critical tool. They're the most important tool for us to help us turn the corner in COVID-19. They're safe and effective for use, and I've been very public about how important I think it is for people to be vaccinated, but to also use all the other tools we have and we've been using for 15 months. Rapid testing and screening. We haven't been doing enough of that in the last year, quite frankly. Mask use, distancing, sanitation, these sorts of things. I think Canadians need to be respected to make their own personal decisions with respect to vaccines or any decision related to their personal health. And I think we should provide people with the information, tell them and allow them to know that vaccines are safe. But I don't think there should be coercion here. We have to work together through the crisis. So if there needs to be some reasonable accommodation to use rapid screening on a daily basis or before a trip, I think we have to try and respect one another as we all fight COVID-19. And in fact, we have to support what the provinces are doing, because when Mr. Trudeau was months late after other countries with a vaccine, it was the provinces that had to make tough decisions about closures, about restrictions. They were dealt the difficult decisions. It was the same with the Delta variant. Mr. Trudeau was late at the border at the beginning of the crisis, and again with variants. And it's the provinces that pay the price. So as a federal leader looking to unite the country, I'll always respect what the provinces choose to do to keep people safe within their provinces, within their jurisdiction.
ਉਧਰ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਆਗੂ ਜਗਮੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਚੋਣ ਮੁਹਿੰਮ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਮੁੱਦਿਆਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਚਰਚਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਚੋਣ ਏਜੰਡੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਵੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ।
These crises have only gotten worse over the past 6 years. When we think about the climate crisis, Justin Trudeau is the only leader of a G7 nation who has increased emissions over the 6 years he's been in power. And we know that the climate crisis is so devastating. We are feeling the impacts of it right now with forest fires across Canada, making it hard to breathe, making it hard to see the sky. This is a real challenge that we're up against. And it's only getting worse. We know that the housing crisis was a crisis before the pandemic. It's only gotten worse over these 6 years. It's becoming more and more unaffordable for people across the country to find a place that's in their budget to rent or to own. And we know that Indigenous people continue to face serious struggles, not having access to clean drinking water, being denied basic human rights. All these things have only gotten worse over the past 6 years. And despite things getting worse, we see Justin Trudeau right now focused on an election. We are still in a pandemic. We are still worried about this pandemic. And people have referred to the pandemic and said, well, we've all been in the same boat. And I say really clearly, we've not been in the same boat. We've been in the same storm for sure. But some people have ridden out this storm in luxury yachts while others have been in leaky lifeboats. We know that the ultra rich in this pandemic have been given a free ride by Liberals and Conservatives, so they have increased their wealth. The richest billionaires in Canada have increased their wealth by $75 billion and counting, and Justin Trudeau's allowed that to happen. Companies like Amazon make record profits, but still contribute virtually no taxes in Canada. Instead of calling an election, Justin Trudeau should be focused on these crises, on getting people the help they need, on walking the path instead of walking away from these commitments. So many people are wondering why this selfish summer election. Well, it's clear Justin Trudeau wants to grab power, wants a majority. But why does he want a majority?
ਤਾਲਿਬਾਨ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਅਫਗਾਨਿਸਤਾਨ ਉੱਤੇ ਹਮਲਿਆਂ ਉਪਰੰਤ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰਨ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਬਦਲਦੇ ਹਾਲਾਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੱਦੇਨਜ਼ਰ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਕਰੀਬ 20,000 ਅਫਗਾਨ ਨਾਗਰਿਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁੜ ਵਸੇਵਾ ਕਰੇਗੀ। ਤਾਲਿਬਾਨ ਨੇ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰਪਤੀ ਅਸ਼ਰਫ ਗਨੀ ਦੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਛੱਡ ਜਾਣ ਉਪਰੰਤ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰਪਤੀ ਭਵਨ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ। ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਥਾਈਂ-ਥਾਈਂ ਤਾਲਿਬਾਨ ਦੀਆਂ ਨੀਤੀਆਂ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਪ੍ਰਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ।
You're fighting the same battle that those women, those children have to fight every day of their lives. They've been fighting it for 43 years.
Who is going to pay for the blood of thousands of our soldiers now? Who is paying for the blood of our thousands of our children in Afghanistan? We lost thousands of children. We lost thousands of women. We lost thousands of lives, millions of lives in Afghanistan.
Those in attendance sharing stories of loved ones back home, like this woman.
My grandmother was sitting there and crying. She's an 80-year-old woman. She was sitting there and she was crying, and she saw the news and she saw those disgusting people sitting in the presidential palace.
I have family there who's been calling us to help us get them out of there. It's insane. The situation there is beyond terrible. Within 20 days, 20 years of work has been abolished.
Organizers say they hope this rally brings awareness and sheds light on the suffering of the Afghan people.
What we want for people to Afghanistan to know that even with everything happening, we stand by them. And it's not over yet. For us, we want peace, we want women's rights, and we want to make sure that everyone knows that Afghanistan's not taken over yet.
Justin Trudeau, 20,000 refugees is going to look great on your election trial, but it's not the end of it. You need to sanction Pakistan.
In order to be a refugee case for them to come to Canada, they have to leave Afghanistan and be registered as a refugee under the UN banner. Right now, it's almost impossible to get out of Afghanistan.
ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਕੌਂਸਲੇਟ ਅਪੂਰਵਾ ਸ਼੍ਰੀਵਾਸਤਵਾ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦਿਹਾੜੇ 15 ਅਗਸਤ ਦੀ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ 72 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦਾ ਦਿਹਾੜਾ ਮਨਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਹਰ ਵਾਰ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇਸ ਵਾਰ ਵੀ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦਾ ਜਸ਼ਨ ਮਨਾਇਆ ਗਿਆ।
Namaskar, I am Apurva Shrivastava, Consul General of India in Toronto. On the occasion of India's Independence Day, I extend my heartiest felicitations to all Indians, Indo-Canadians and friends of India. August 15th is a very significant day for all of us. It fills us with the excitement of unfurling the tricolour, taking part in celebrations and listening to patriotic songs. This year is historic and special as it marks the beginning of the 75th year of India's independence, which is being celebrated as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I'm sure the community will continue to organize and participate in events as we celebrate the Amrit Mahotsav across Canada. On this momentous occasion, we remember the sacrifices, renunciation, and penance of our great forefathers. It also serves as a reminder for the remarkable progress achieved by our nation in various fields in the last 75 years. On behalf of the Consulate General of India in Toronto, my best wishes to the vibrant Indian community in Canada on India's Independence Day. Stay safe, stay healthy, Jai Hind.
रानी